So this is the first one we've sort of like done on this. I think some of the microphones on, so I'm getting some feedback. Okay. So I'm just going to introduce myself, and then we can go on to introducing others as well. So I'm Ibi, and I have a few other companies and brands that I've set up since 2017, mainly tech related, to do with network security, IT support, like an MS. And PatchMon came out of our own need for the servers that we manage. And now my direction is going towards PatchMon, whilst the rest of the team is starting to handle the rest of the brands and companies that we have. That's just me. And I'm wondering if people want to go ahead and introduce themselves. That would be great, I think, so we can all get to know each other.
I'll go first. My name's Josh Preston. I'm based out of the U.S. I work for Red Hat, and our home lab pointed me into PatchMon. I kind of fell in love. I've done some contributing with Homar and done a little bit of integrations on that side. So I'm looking forward to seeing where it's going, and welcome back, Ibby.
Fantastic. Thank you so much, Josh. Appreciate it. Simon?
Yeah, I'm Simon. I work for an engineering consultant, worldwide engineering consultant. We bumped into PatchMon in our lab, and we were just starting to use it. Then Ibby sort of like disappeared from the face of the earth. So I contacted him personally directly, because we're both in the UK, and I've got to know him quite well. And just like you, Josh, I'm quite excited to see where PatchMon will go, especially more for me, potentially in the Windows environment, if that happens in the future, because we have only limited Linux. But it is a bit of a passion project for me now.
Fantastic, appreciate it.
All right, real name Steve. I just use that pseudonym a lot because
of course.
So, I'm probably retired. I've worked in IT for more years than I care to remember. Worked on lots of operating systems, done patching on various things, especially Windows over the years. But now a big Linux fan, and I'm using Proxmox big time, and generally helping out and trying to see how we can improve things. And go ahead. Yeah,
awesome. Thank you so much, Stephen. And
yeah, hi. Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
I was trying to speak. Yeah, it was trying to send the audio through Microsoft Teams, and we're not there.
No.
Yeah, my name's Toby. Day job, I work for a company called Loop One. We work with many monitoring and observability solutions, sort of implementing them for customers. But I also do freelance IT work. Got a big background with MSPs the last sort of decade or so. Various outsourced IT support. So yeah, patching has been a big part of what we're doing. I'm doing more with Linux now, getting more involved with that. Most of the web is running on Linux, so it's something that interests me. So yeah,
for sure.
Great product. So,
yeah, I mean it's a team effort, isn't it? It's everyone's equal effort, and that's a beautiful part of open source and collaboration. So thank you so much. Julian, I don't think Julian's got a mic connected, so that's fine.
Yes, it's Bernard. I'm a Linux administrator in a French company and doing MSP. Forgive my level in English, I'm not very fluent.
Yeah, fantastic. I think there was some things with the audio side of things there, but from what I understood, you're a Linux administrator for a French company, is that right?
Yes, that's right.
Fantastic. Okay, great. Well, thank you so much for that. And, I appreciate each one of you for popping on this call and giving your valuable Friday evening over to us. So, just a bit of transparency. I thought I'd start with that. Now, although PatchMon's goal is obviously to make Linux patching simpler and smarter, and it's always a bit difficult to think about creating a solution and a product in a development mindset, as well as then going into like a product owner mindset and then bringing all them together. But that's our ultimate vision, our goal, to make it simpler and smarter for people. Now, I started PatchMon just as some random bash scripts a long time ago, as you probably remember, back in August last year. So we're coming up to nearly a year. And from the get-go, there was a lot of great momentum, and obviously the community now in Discord, we're on about 800 members. Um, Now, whilst the last 3 months of that is coming up to, now I haven't been very well physically, mentally. I am on the road to recovery, various tests, etc. And some of the medication that I was taking in the beginning was getting me quite tired. So I wasn't really able to do my normal daily functions, and then you have family, and you know the story. We've all been there, and we're all part of the same boat in the world. But as a result, there was the major development in PatchMon and releases that was all paused. Um, Now I realize that obviously there's been a lot of pull requests and issues that have been opened up. And the rest of the community, Simon and, Toby and the rest of you have all been, um, majorly involved in keeping the lights on. And for that, I really appreciate, yourselves, and appreciate everyone, and those people who aren't on this call as well. And that's from a personal thank you. So just looking forward and going forward, I've had a lot of talking time. I've met up with Simon as well. I think you mentioned that. And I've been speaking to my eldest brother, who's a coach, and manages multiple development engineering teams. And so I'm just trying to learn and trying to formulate a plan going forward. Some of the things I thought I would go ahead and write out. There's been an overwhelm on structuring releases and fixing bugs, which you all know. Sometimes we will release something a few times in a week, and the other times the releases are quite long, and for us to be able to implement the right structure, a right momentum, set up the correct expectations for the community and for ourselves, these need to be more streamlined and more consistent. So one of the things that I personally struggled with was unable to really consolidate and filter through the issues that are there, compare them against the feature requests, and put everything together, because things were a bit everywhere. And I find it difficult to prioritize the features, right? One person says they really want this, and then another. So it's like being dragged from pillar to post. And that, I feel, hopefully in the structure that we put forward by the end of this call, we'll be able to really get that nailed down, and the expertise that you guys bring to the table and the feedback that I'll hopefully get from yourselves would be able to help us all, bring that into fruition, where we've got clarity on the future. And we're all learning. I'm learning as we go forward. So this is the current sort of path you see. We've got the general bugs, and they appear in, the issues tab. And then we've also got people, sending them off to Discord. The discussions are happening in both places. Feature requests are also happening in GitHub as well as Discord. And they're happening in multiple places. So as a result, the project roadmap in GitHub, it's just a project board that I've converted into a roadmap. So currently what happens, any issues, I'll associate them, but then I'll kind of forget as well if somebody's already raised one, and it's a lot of admin tasks to do before I even get on to looking at investigating the code and triaging them, etc. and people are writing out or creating new GitHub issues for how-tos. If how to set PatchMon up behind Caddy, or how do I set PatchMon up through like a Docker management system. You've got them. Is it called Podman or something? I can't remember now. There's a few out there, and so the GitHub issues tab has become overfilled with a mix and a variety of things. And some of the information is in GitHub, which can be indexed by Google and public searchable. And some of the things are inside Discord, which is more gated. And as a result, the fix might be in Discord, but not in GitHub. So there's a bit of a, what can you say, disparity or a bit of a gap there. So what I've tried to do is have this as a proposed kind of a structure, and that is basically look at the way that we have our bugs come in. So they should really stay inside the issues tab in GitHub. This is my opinion, by the way. This isn't set in stone. So when I explain what I'm trying to do here, then if anybody has any ideas or feedback, that would be very valuable. So the aim is to have the issues tab inside GitHub, just bugs, so that we know if there's a large number. It doesn't mean it's a large number of feature requests and people asking questions, but it's actual bugs that we need to work through. And that, because when somebody goes onto a GitHub repository, the first thing a person looks at is the issues tab, and if the number's quite high, they think, damn, this project's got a lot of issues. But they don't realize that 70% of those entries are actually feature requests and people just asking questions. We'll also be able to really easily measure our progress and the stability of the application just by looking at a simple number at the top of the issues tab there. So that's that. Discussions and the how-tos that are proposed by general administrators, we could have that in a new discussions tab in GitHub. So GitHub has the discussions on there, which is public facing. It can be easily indexed by Google. It's not really gated behind a Discord entry point. Not everybody has Discord in that sense. And as a result, people searching for things might be able to find answers a lot more clearer. And it also allows for a quick communication from the outside world without it cluttering the issues tab in that sense. Like, for example, where's Ibi? He's not been here for a bit. That was raised as an issue, but in fact, it should be a discussion, So I'm thinking we can enable the discussions tab on that repository, and that might just help bring things into light, and we can maintain it easier there. Same with the how-tos, because they're like discussions in that sense. Now, the roadmap, I've created feedback.patchmon.net, which I'm going to just open up shortly. And so I wanted the feature requests to be solely inside this new Quackback, it's called. It's an open source project, which I've modified a little bit to allow bidirectional synchronization of GitHub issues through webhooks. But the roadmap itself and the management of it and the comments and the upvoting, it handles it very well. So we can have the roadmap, the feature request, the change logs, all inside Quackback, basically. The Discord, we can keep that, obviously, because it's been there, and it's a nice place for community-related things as well. So, and I'm also hoping to create more channels for certain notifications. As an example, PR notifications, release notifications from GitHub, other bits and bobs that we need to sort of maybe just keep an eye on. And the teams that we make going forward, that I'll discuss at the end, then we can have a channel for those teams as well. So it's like a community and a team place. What do you guys think in regards to that structure before I go ahead and show the feedback area?
I like it. I think it looks good. For legacy feature requests in GitHub, then the new feedback site, is that going to migrate all the existing and then you clear out from GitHub? Is that the idea?
So I'm glad you asked that, Toby, because Quackback doesn't have the ability to import legacy stuff. So I built that feature. I say in all honesty, it was Claude. I just vibe coded it through Claude on this instance. But I got that working. So I have an import section. It's really great. It works phenomenally nice. It's all built in. So there's a lot that I have to go through. There's about 600 or something like that, 700.
Split them out, isn't it, from genuine bugs? Yeah.
It is. So I'm going to go through them and I'll show you the screen as well. So that is the next thing that I need to do over the course of tonight, this weekend. And I didn't want to do it all before somebody, like yourselves, mentioned something that I need to just take into consideration. But yes, historic stuff will go into the roadmap and they'll be put into the closed or the released section.
Just trying to think of something else. I know GitHub's got the feature, hasn't it, for duplicate issues as well?
Yeah.
Like duplicate issue detection?
Yes.
So that might be helpful in future as well.
Yes. When people are raising the bugs on GitHub, then we'll be able to handle the merge or mark as duplicate, and then you assign it to the right bug number easily, because there won't be as much clutter there. But at the moment, it is everything inside that issues tab. Now, anybody else have anything as well? Or Toby, if you've got anything else?
Nothing else at the moment. I'm making some notes as well, so I'm sure I'll come back if there's anything.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Sorry, Sven.
Yeah, Sven?
Yeah, I just wondered, I hope it's not throwing a big ball in the works, but is Discord the right vehicle, the right tool to be using when it's not very threaded, or it probably can be threaded? I'm not that familiar with it. I use Reddit a lot, for example, for other subjects as well. I'm just wondering, is Reddit maybe a better tool to be using? I don't know.
Yeah.
Throw something out there.
Reddit, I like Reddit a lot. Now, the issue is that, number one, for some reason, and I do not know why, but they banned PatchMon. I have no idea why. I've tried appealing it, got no response. We had a PatchMon Reddit subreddit thing. What I'm trying to have the goal is that we consolidate things for people. And now, for the main things, when it comes to bugs, then we can have that inside GitHub, because that's really where it belongs. For discussions, because most of the discussions are going to be relating to the technical side, then opening up the discussions tab inside GitHub would lessen the amount of things that we all need to keep an eye on as well. If we open up the Reddit side and we go for it, then we're going to start seeing bugs and other things appear inside Reddit. We already because we'll have the discussions tab open inside GitHub, it will open up the avenue for people to have open conversations there. Discord is going to mainly turn into a place where we can have the internal conversations around development, architecture, DevOps, security things that when we start creating teams, in the next few slides, I'm going to have like an open thing about, okay, let's start creating various teams. Then we can have them there. You can have Discord thread, but I hope that sort of helps us understand it a bit and why Reddit hasn't been opened up. Because number one, it got banned. But number two is if we create a new subreddit and it gets banned again for whatever reason, I have no idea why. Maybe someone reported it. There's literally no things on there anyway. But then we've lost a lot of real estate for knowledge use.
I think the problem as well is if you're having another forum, it's something else to moderate, isn't it?
Yeah.
If you're having an official channel.
Yeah, it's just another thing to moderate. You're right. a lot. I mean, it's one
The
of them.
banning of it was odd though, because it wasn't active for more than 3 months, was it? 2 months even.
Do you think it could be related to just not it being active?
I mean, it's probably more likely to be some thing, isn't it? Some AI things has seen it and not liked the name or something. I don't think it was that active, was it, when it was first set up?
No, it wasn't.
Yeah.
Because most of the sign-ups into Discord, they all came through Reddit when I made the post.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
well,
Home Lab.
I've seen your other posts in Reddit. I think that's how I came across PatchMon initially, was via Reddit. But the official PatchMon subreddit, yeah, that was odd.
Yeah, no, you're right. Okay, anything? I think somebody else wanted to say something as well. I can't. Okay, no problem. We'll move on to just showing the feedback area that I've created, put together, or whatever. There's this like little feedback section, which is where people can put in ideas, and then they can post them into various bits. Just excuse the bug reports bit, and I'll explain why this is here in a minute. So, for example, if you do factor, whatever, and then then they can submit it. Once you've submitted it, it'll appear inside these sections where a person can upvote them, that kind of thing. Going into them, this has been ingested by GitHub, right? Now there's a which I'm considering just turning that off and whatnot, but we'll get that sorted. Now, when, for example, this feature request that's been opened by Benesse, hey, look at you, you're getting a bit of limelight now. So what we could do is I can go and edit. From the admin section, what I'm able to do is go to general. So the admin is what staff, and then we can associate it to a specific roadmap, right? So product features, and it's open. So if I save that, and then the roadmap here, then we can see the roadmap section in this bit, upvoted or not. So we've got like a bit of a flow, completed or open, newest, oldest. We can create filters by segment, tags, and I've created 2 roadmaps here, bug fixes and product features, but we can add more, so that kind of thing, so we can move it across. The public get this type of view in that sense, and they can click on the other roadmaps that are there, they can sort them, they can upvote them again, that kind of thing. And then they can obviously see that we've associated it as an admin or a staff member into the product features. They can be tags, they can subscribe to it as well, status changes, that kind of thing. And then we have the change log. So right now there's no change logs, but if I go to admin and change log, then I can create a new entry. So I'm going to put in all the previous versions as well and put that into there, and we can link specific posts. So for example, multi-factor, this, that, the other. So the features that we've enabled or that we've built or the things that we've sorted, they can be then associated to a change log version, whatever. Let's just, okay. And then, what's my mouse? Here we go, save draft. Then I can go ahead and publish it, schedules, for example, so we can schedule a release in that way. What I'm trying to do is have a foundation set up so we can all work in agile methodology, basically. Now, that's my aim. Going back to, we were able to see bug reports. Now, this is a question that I want to propose. When somebody raises a bug or an issue inside GitHub, should that come into this feedback portal or not?
I think not. I think you should stick to same for release notes. If you imagine what the community's very much used to seeing, it's release notes, issues, and you're right. The issues tab is getting heavily abused for features, etc., etc. And I think it would be good to move that out. But I would keep the core bug reports, release notes, pull requests, all that sort of stuff in GitHub, and use this for exactly what you're doing. Maybe roadmaps, feature requests, sort of like those sort of functionalities. The danger, of course, is that it's going to be hard for Bob, the new person that suddenly comes along, to know what to do. Yeah. So it's you can explain it to us now, but tomorrow you're still going to get a feature request turn up in your issues list. So then, and even if you remove the logical naming or whatever the components, people will still do it because that's sort of a little bit what they're used to doing.
Yeah.
So you really need some curation there of some description to, as you said, take away the feature requests from there if they end up getting and get them moved to here. But in the same way, you have to explain that to the person who just created that feature request because they're going to create it again. Yeah, suddenly their feature request disappears. They don't know about feedback.patchmon.net. So it's sort of the actual concept is fine. It's just about the education of the community or people that don't know the community that will be the hardest thing in this sort of map.
Yeah. Now, this is a really good point, Simon. I appreciate that. And what I was thinking is basically when you create an issue at the moment, I created some templates. So these, they're in like the GitHub template.
Yeah.
So this wasn't there before, and so what I'm wanting to do is where you've got the feature request. If they press that, the first thing that will come up will be, please don't raise features here. Raise them in feedback.patchmon.net. Go there. If they, because you can still do it, if they press create, then an automatic comment and closure of that feature will happen as like a task. So they'll get the comment, i.e. the notification, and it will close that as well if they have pressed the feature side. That way, they'll know as soon as they open it up to go to feedback.patchmon.net. But if they go ahead and open it, then the comment will reaffirm that and it will close it for them as well. Do you think that will hopefully solve a bit of the issue where they might want to still raise features here in the issues tab?
I think it will. I mean, I think if somebody takes the time to raise a feature here, you should do your port realistically over to, so you should grab a feature from here and move it to the other one. The likelihood of somebody then retyping it all, or just getting a bit disgruntled by the fact that they typed it and it was just lost, if that makes sense, would be something that would not appeal to the app. So.
Okay.
Yeah, I think a bit of automation there. I think that it is better to have those functionalities that actually break it into like you've done now. But I think people will still, by the nature of how many other projects do it, many of the projects I mean still use the feature requests still directly in the issues channel. Yeah, so for example, it's not uncommon. Yeah.
Okay. So what I can do is, because it works via webhooks in the feedback portal, is if somebody was to raise a feature request through here, it will go ahead and import it into the roadmap and then put a comment on here pointing to the direct URL link to it and then close it from here. So it's a low barrier entry point for feature requests, but they'll know because then in the feedback portal, you can have the upvoting, etc. They'll know then to follow it in that area. And I can make a really easy filter where if the feature title is bugs, then it won't automatically import it into Quackback. But if it's feature, then it will automatically import it into Quackback and then do the closing and the commenting on GitHub.
Yeah, I think that's also fine. Also remember, Ibi, that not every feature request you should onboard. as a
course.
community, as a team.
Of course.
So lots of people will ask for lots of things. I mean, somebody may ask you to make a cup of tea for them, for example. So again, that whole feature workflow needs to have some curation and some decision process in it as well.
Absolutely.
Whether you even want to get it onto the roadmap. So it would not automatically appear in a roadmap. It would start as a feature request that's then evaluated, declined or accepted as a feature request, and then it would end up in a backlog.
Yeah.
I was going to say, does it have a review queue?
Well, in the statuses, we can go ahead and create various statuses for those in itself. Now, obviously, this is going to be something we're going to have to discuss as to, okay, what is going to be the status. Obviously, we've got new and open, but new open, unreviewed maybe kind of thing. And then we've got closed as well. We can have a rejected or something or deferred or whatever. But that we're going to have to just look at doing in that way once we've got the team together and we've planned out how we're going to do it in like an agile format, basically.
It's difficult, isn't it? Being an open source project, I think people have a lot of expectations that whatever you put in as a requested feature will then be implemented.
Yeah, this is
also the difficult side of it, isn't it? Understanding where to draw the line.
I think another thing as well, just to add on to that, Toby, is that people would request a feature and then already create code for it. And it's like, well, we haven't decided yet if that's going to be something as a feature we want inside or not, first of all. So there is going to be these points that we're going to have to highlight inside and I've actually wrote it out in the slides as well, inside what is being developed and what isn't. And part of this is the whole CLA flow as well. There's a tool out there that if somebody goes ahead for the first time, submits a PR, then it's going to ask them to sign the CLA agreement, the contributor licensing agreement, which in there, and as well as the contributing the MD file, we need to pop it in there. That don't just willy-nilly submit code. But this again is we need to handle that internally and discuss that in our calls, basically. Now, okay. So the real goal is to not really have it reliant on one person. It's an open source project. We all need to take it forward. Now, with Quackback, the project managers, developers, the teams will have the staff login for it, and we can all work together. But so, as a result from the development work, we will put that all in, like the features or the requests, into small actions that we can claim if a feature request comes in, or there's a bug or there's an issue, and then we put that into Quackback, allowing it to be claimed by somebody for the development side or managed. But this is all like a project management thing. But what the really good thing with the feedback board is that we've got good transparency and status and priorities that we can associate and configure. I'm thinking that we can then have like a progression call like this in terms of what's been done in the last month and what's been done what's going to be planned for the 2 sprints ahead. If we have these sprints done bi-weekly, the last Friday 4 p.m. of every month. That's what I'm sort of like thinking with those few points. What do you think?
Yeah, I think that works for me.
Yeah, I think it works. And one of the things that I said to you before, the community is there to get involved, but the ownership is with you. PatchMon's yours. That's why they have to sign a contributor agreement, because they're handing over their effort and their code to you. That's one of the things that defining what your roadmap this as a team. We can work together, and as a community, can work on what we think is important for the roadmap. We can help you choose those things. It's not a problem. You can then offer that to people to do that work. Yeah, so that's something that you can put forward. You will get people, as you said, that all just write the code and make a feature request with the code automatically attached. And I sent you an example the other day of something that happened in that, where the dev decided that this was just a waste of tokens. And he told them so, because he's a Dutch guy and they're very straightforward like that. So I think you need to take that ownership for what does go forward, what is a feature, what we should work on, etc., with consultation with people like the community and us, but you maintain that ownership. Yeah, and don't feel you're giving away that ownership, because that's not what you should do. PatchMon is your product and it's your thing, and the community is here to help you and bring it forward for the community, because it benefits them as well. Yeah,
sure. That makes total sense. I agree. There's a clear, that we're all in it together to work and to make it beneficial for everyone. And the responsibility and the trajectory and, the whole roadmap side of things, yes, I'm responsible for that for sure. And I think we all help each other make that decision, and for that kind of stuff, and then we can go from there. I think my thing is, I always feel I want to do everything all at once, but we can't. And I think this is going to help us all make sure that we get in regular updates, but at the same time, things are released in bite-sized stages, and we're all clear about what's going on with the project. And that's a goal. So I appreciate that, Sam. Where are we now? Okay, so full backlog is going to be imported and organized. So the priorities, just to jump on this as well, we'll agree with them all, and we'll have it visible with the new project management team that I want to go ahead and build. So then we'll scope the first sprint, and we'll go through the whole CLA flow. And again, we will have the small regular releases every. This is sort of the 3 teams that I want to build. So a project management team, just to help manage the roadmap, sprints, and prioritization. Now, although the final say is through myself, this is more around understanding the impact, the value, and putting markers on them from, in Quackback, basically, as well as the GitHub issues tab, and keeping an eye on that kind of thing. So a team to help with managing the project. Then we'll have a team for the core development, where the PRs can be reviewed, the architectural design can be, the ideas and the implementation can be bounced. The DevOps side and the feature building, that kind of things, the actual DevOps and the development side team. And then the mods. So that'll be more around keeping the Discord area tidy. We already have a couple of mods on Discord. So once this video is shared with them and everything, but also from just community guidelines, general overview, and someone to keep things tidied up and make sure that things are responded to. And if I need tagging into anything or raising, then we can go ahead and discuss that. If a certain member's not behaving well, or that kind of thing, I don't know. But somebody just to help with that community side. Now, what do you guys think in terms of them 3 little areas that I thought we could build a channel in Discord and communicate with each other on? If there's any others that we need to potentially think about from a project point of view.
Looks good to me. Yeah.
Okay.
I think having any sort of structure in a project like this is good. So it's good.
Cool. Okay. All right. Well, what I'll do is I'm thinking of just creating those 3 channels in Discord and then putting a message out as a bit of a recap, tagging everyone into it and saying, hey, if somebody wants to be inside the project management team, let me know. We'll see. And we'll be really appreciative of your help here. We'll go through without a separate call. Same with the developers. There's also other developers that aren't on this call. So I'll have to obviously tag them into it, that kind of thing, and then go from there.
Ibi, I've just seen Josh has put a message in the chat there. He says he's got loud construction, but he's asking about documentation. Whether documentation would fall under a separate category.
That's a good question. What should we do there? Because documentation, I have, it's all in GitHub. But what happens is sorry, let me go to code. So the documentation guides are in here. Now I have a development flow when I build the PatchMon.net website. It actually creates these guides here that you can download as PDF. But these are essentially those MD files. And when you click on one of them, it would load it up and you can see them being displayed here. It's a pretty cool flow, to be honest with you. I'm kind of proud of it. But it's just missing loads of like pictures or that kind of thing. So if any documentation needs building, then it's going to be a PR request against these.
I think I've raised a couple for some pieces, and others have as well. So you can just raise a pull, can't you? And it will update once it's reviewed and committed. But whether it's a separate team to review that, that's the problem, isn't it? Unless you're following it through a build or deployment or migration from the start, you're not necessarily going to be looking at every article. That's the problem, isn't it? And I think that's the problem with a lot of documentation. Unless, it's a difficult one.
It is. I went through this whole thing about documentation. Like we still have this, but I'm not. Is it still live? No, I've got rid of it, haven't I? Yeah.
I mean, overall, Ivy, I don't think documentation is too bad. I think actually it's, as you said, it probably needs some small tweaks here and there. But I've seen plenty of projects that have much worse documentation than is currently available.
Oh yeah, no, the documentation itself is fine, isn't it? I think, in the grand scheme of things, it's good. Yeah. So maybe just having 1 or 2 people that actually just review active pull requests for documentation changes, because I think that's probably where people are going to be reading through a section and thinking, oh, actually this is no longer applicable, or something else needs adding here. They'll raise a pull request, but it might not be actively, or reviewed in a timely fashion. So maybe just having a separate community team for those reviews.
Do you think we could have a roadmap for that, so we know it's just there, or should we just keep it inside? It won't really fit inside product features, will it?
No, I'd probably say have a separate one, and then anyone raising anything related to documentation will be moved into a separate area.
I think that's a really good idea, because
wonderful.
Some of the how-tos that are gonna come up, like how do I set this up, how do I set that up, that's gonna come up inside the discussion. It's fine if the answer's inside the discussion, but in reality, like, that does need to be inside the documentation part as well. So it's gonna ever evolve, isn't it? Plus, at the moment, the documentation is it's fine, it documents everything, but it's just not very picture friendly. So somebody there can start importing like pictures or documentation requests of how to enable, SSH proxy or something like that. It's there in text, but not really in picture format. So somebody wants to contribute that way, then I think there's definitely scope for that, isn't there?
I think the danger you get with pictures, Ibby, is they're constantly out there. And actually, I think a technical guide like you have now doesn't need 1 million pictures. It shouldn't. Just imagine the type of individual or person that's using PatchMon in general is a technical-led person. You would imagine it's a technical-led person for the sole reason that they're patching technical surface, yeah, and you're making it simplistic and you're making it easy and you're making it this and you're making it that, but they should be from a background or have at least an understanding, in my opinion, of what they're doing, so, and probably can read. So I wouldn't go with too many pictures because you'll be constantly battling with those. It's better not to do that in technical guides like this, in my view. I mean, I take that from also things like Zabbix. Zabbix doesn't have many pictures in their documentation guide for exactly the same reason. Yeah, I would rather have the content and the facts correct than nice graphics inside. The guides themselves are easy to read at this point in time, and they're pretty technically correct because of the build process that you have. So I think you're right, Toby. I think that should be held responsible, especially some of the text that I see that people write is atrocious, if I'm honest. And I think to myself, you could have. There's one guy, for example, I use Vault Warden a lot. There's one guy called Theus in there. He just looks at grammar in the app and the actual. That's what his input is. He's not a coder. He openly admits that, but he's a native English speaker, like a lot of us are on this call, and he's constantly correcting the pull requests and the documentation and this and that, based on the fact that it's just poorly written. Yeah. So again, I would look for somebody that maybe isn't a developer to actually go through the guides. It's
probably the best person, isn't it?
Yes.
Technical, read it, and does that make sense? Yeah,
makes sense. Yeah, I think that's what you're looking for. Yeah.
I was going to say as well, Microsoft. If you look at the Microsoft documentation, brilliant, most of it anyway. But again, no pictures. And the other thing with screenshots is you've got to think of the accessibility side of it as well. You got to think of all the alt text and captions and all that sort of stuff. And like someone was saying, a screenshot on one OS version might look slightly different to another, and so on and so forth. So it's I think keeping it to plain text is probably the way forward.
Yeah. Now, this whilst you guys, have been speaking, something popped into my mind, and I feel like we could ask someone in the community to help with this. But we have a PatchMon YouTube channel, so I think some of the installation videos that have been done by tech influencers, you could say, to gain traffic and that kind of thing. They've done them, but it's outdated now. It's not really the same procedure. But videos do help a lot for people to do the installation, to set up this, that, the other. I feel like maybe we could also have potential video requests done by the community, see if anybody wants to make them, and that might just help the newer people rather than putting images inside documentation.
I think one of the things, if you look at something like NetBird, they have one guy now who looks a little bit like you, Toby. He's got a big beard and this and that, and he basically, I think, was a community member that NetBird has really sort of like encouraged him on their YouTube channel, and he actually now provides quite a lot of content, also about things like the small changes that are happening, etc., on quite a frequent basis. The videos are watched. I mean, NetBird is quite a big take. I think there's quite a lot of users out there for that. But again, it's more of it's a nice to have down the line. I wonder whether you should focus that attention now. Let's try to build the core group together that's actually delivering solid, reliable, regular benefits with good documentation. And then when you want to grow your community and grow your use case, etc., because as we discussed quite a lot, the corporate market is what will buy the product. The home market is what will use the product. As much as we all want to use it for free, etc., I mean, from a corporate background, I'm sure a few of the other corporates are here, will be willing to pay for support and this and that, etc. And you need to get a balance between the two. because at the end of the day, you have to feed your family, you have to pay for the time that you put into it. Nothing comes for free, especially when the open source, a lot of burnout in open source community groups and development teams, because they have to do so much themselves without really getting a lot back often from the community. And I think that's something you have to learn to balance. And I think you're trying to do that now with these community calls. And as I said, I'm really going to be interested to see how much the community is willing to pick up, because I'm involved in quite a lot of open source projects, and I tend to find that it's a very small number of people in every project that do most of the work.
Yeah, I think these are really, really important points, and thank you as well, because you're right about the video side, and I think that'll all come, and definitely. Now I have realized it's been an hour now, and it's got to 5 o'clock. Before we end the call and I start to just go through my notes, write a summary for everyone, is there anything anybody wants to mention? I think, Stephen, you had a few points as well, didn't you? You mentioned you said you might want to raise them.
Where do you want bugs filing at the moment? I've got GitHub, right? Okay, let me have a go at that. Packages database seems to be limited to 10,000 packages. I've got quite a few test VMs, and I think one of those is SUSE Linux is contributing a hell of a lot to it. The other one that is probably annoying for a lot of people is the session inactivity timeout minutes. I don't think it's working.
Okay. So let's pop. I don't know, because I haven't actually reviewed all the GitHub issues at the moment. If there is a duplicate or not, I'll find out obviously by the end of tonight, when I've started to import all of them. And now that I have some clarity that bugs aren't going to be in the new feedback portal, they're going to stay inside GitHub. I just need to modify the code a little bit on this system, because where's my integrations? GitHub. Yeah, import issues. I created this little bit of a board thing. So auto discovery, it goes into bug reports, that kind of thing. So, or not, I don't know. Okay. Once I've done this with these, then we'll see. Okay, but there's a few that you mentioned. Okay, so 10,000.
The package database limit seems to be 10,000. Or it's the web UI, but I suspect it's the database. I've got about 30 VMs in one PatchMon instance, and I think OpenSUSE Tumbleweed is contributing a massive amount to that. It's just a play around thing. The biggie issue at the moment, I think, needs thinking about is phased of patches. And we had a little discussion about this before you went off sick a few months ago, Ibby. And I was trying to suggest that, maybe there needs to be a way that we use something like some workflow automation. And I'm specifically thinking of tools like N8N, where you can define little groups of systems, hosts, that you would say, right, this is the initial batch of a few hosts. Here's a server and a desktop, for example. Try a few patches out. Do they work? Do they cause detrimental effects? And you do a phased approach of doing initial systems, a few more, and then you say, right, let everything go because everything's working okay, or not, hold everything back because we've got some bad effects. This also kind of leads to, should you then have a template reference server environment? I'm thinking Microsoft WSUS, for example, Microsoft did it with WSUS, which I think is now being retired. But if there was something like a Debian system or a Red Hat system you had in your environment, which was a reference of patches, so that you didn't accidentally install something that's just come out a moment or two before you hit the patch button. You don't end up patching your critical DNS or security systems just at the same time you're trying to patch them.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So there
it
is
was.
one.
It was mentioned by I think Gompstar. I think,
Yeah.
and I think so. I just think it needs. It might be a fairly big task to start thinking about workflow ordering of patching, and then how do you put a block on it at the right time, and how do you let it go?
Yeah. Yeah, I think these are really important points to, for IT administrators and engineers patching itself. And I think I'm sure there's already some feature requests that are out on GitHub relating to this, and also in Discord. So once we consolidate them, we can understand what the timeline looks like to review them and go from there with the newly formed teams. But I appreciate, you've reiterated them, and these are really important, especially for, workflows and making sure things are up to date in the way that the company who's doing the administration or the home labs or whatever, make sure they don't update things that they don't want to update, and there's some advanced flows in there. So these are really important, and thank you very much, Steve, for just highlighting them.
Sure. Yeah. The other little one I want to try and address myself when I get the time to do it, which hopefully might be in the next week or so, is the kernel incorrect kernel versions being reported in the GUI, where some distros don't behave the same way as others, and I'm thinking Alpine and some others. They don't know how to interpret the installed kernel version against the
That's right.
kernel version. I have an idea on it, which I'd like to further explore. I was looking at it some months ago, and then thought, oh no, hang on, this is getting really complicated.
It's complicated, yeah.
The simple approach at the moment, if you think of Debian and Red Hat systems, is that the VM Linux boot image in /boot/VM Linux something. If you do a file command on that, or any of them, you will see that there's an internal version there. And that looks like the most reliable way of checking what the actual kernel version is, no matter what the file name is of VM Linux. Yeah. So I want to have a look at it in Go and see if there's a way of doing it without having to shell out the file command, but if there's a way of just getting straight at it to the file system.
Yeah.
And pulling out the actual internal VM Linux version number and matching that with what else we can find, such as in /lib module or something. And saying, this appears to be the latest installed version. There was a problem a few months ago where Debian did some funny naming on their kernel versions, and it wasn't obvious which one was the latest one.
No, it wasn't. You're right. This is something to look at as well, and I think there might already be a pull request. But once we've imported all the bugs and I've gone through it all with a fine-tooth comb, hopefully today, and organize it, then we can all start looking at these and getting them sorted and understand what needs to be fixed first. But I appreciate. Go ahead, Simon.
Sorry. I think, Stephen, your order of events was sort of the wrong way around, but for the right reasons. Yeah. I also would like to see all those features that you mentioned at the beginning, but the most important feature is the stability issue that you mentioned at the end. I think we desperately need to focus as a team on a hardcore stable platform that patches reliably, that does everything it needs to do before moving forward into rings and this and that. And these are all features that I would love to see tomorrow, because like you said, I would have the same issue with patch rings, and I would like to do that from a corporate point of view. But before rings, I want to make sure that every time I patch or have an answer from PatchMon, that's right, and it stays online and it doesn't lose its connection to the agent once in a while, and all the other things, all the other little bugs that it currently has floating around. That's what I discussed with Ibby when I saw him over a coffee. So there's a lot of people that mention a lot of bugs, and I would focus a few releases definitely on stability items, rather than features. In fact, I might even be tempted to remove some of the stuff that's currently there. It's that's been added, as we know, in 1.5 there was quite a lot of features just dumped in. IBI spent quite a lot of time having to rework those features because they were added in a bit of a hurry. So I genuinely think stability releases for a few releases are the way ahead.
Yeah, I think we all probably agree on this, that the focus is stability going forward, and also clarity on our whole project. And I think we can get this nailed, and then going forward we'll have much more of an easier way of integrating new code, and things are a lot more cleaner in features. So we don't really want to build upon a platform that's got some bugs lying about and hasn't been properly stressed in that way before we integrate new features. So that's definitely the focus here. A stable version of PatchMon, and then clarity on our whole roadmap going forward, and we can easily prioritize with a fresh mind. So I think that's really, really important points that you've all raised there. Appreciate it.
And another question for Stephen and Toby. You're both obviously British. Whereabouts in the UK are you?
Steve, I'm originally from York. I'm now living in Dublin, Ireland.
Okay.
Norfolk, so East
Norfolk.
Coast, West Norfolk. So I'm about 6 miles outside of King's Lynn. So not far from the coast. Yeah.
I'm in Peterborough. So
not far away.
A million miles away of each other. Stephen, a bit further away. But you do come from, I actually from Bradford, so I'm a Yorkshire boy myself, but I've lost the accent many years ago.
I had to lose the accent when I moved to London because they didn't understand anybody that was north of Watford.
Yeah, I get mixed feedback upon my accent. I used to work in technical support, and we used to have a joke around, the accent doesn't match the face, It was a good fun times. But for sure, I think I'm really excited. I have a lot of confidence and a lot of happiness in the result of this call. And thank you so much again, all of you, for the time that you've given, and for those people who will be watching this later. And we can go from there. If that's okay, guys, I'm gonna publish the recording on YouTube, if that's okay.
Sure.
Yes, fine, Phoebe. Yeah, no problem.
Yep, fine with me.
Okay, great. All right, thank you, guys. I'll recap, and it was really nice talking to you all. Okay.
Yeah, thank you. Have a nice evening, everyone.
Okay.
Okay.
See you soon.
See you soon.
Yeah.
Take care.
Okay.
Bye.
Cheers.
Bye bye. Bye bye.